Good afternoon, everyone. This is Jared Rand, and welcome to the Global Guided Meditation Call for May 30, 2023. A little after, say, 3:15 p.m. Eastern. We'll be having a time for change call tomorrow night, Wednesday, about 9 p.m. Eastern. I'm going to be discussing the structure of the planet, the civilization of the planet, the monetary system of the planet, the brass nails and tacks. And a lot of us, we talk about don't like being alone. And it's beautiful to be alone. It is also beautiful to be in love, to be with people. And they are complementary, not contradictory. When you are enjoying others, enjoy and enjoy and enjoy to the full. There is no need to bother about aloneness. And when you are fed up with others, then move into aloneness and enjoy it to the full. Don't try to choose. If you try to choose, you will be in difficulty. Every choice is going to create a division in you, a kind of split in you. So why choose? When you can have both, why have one? Now, some teachings consist of two words, meditation and love. Meditate so that you can feel immense silence, and love so that your life can become a song, a dance, a celebration. You will have to move life. You will have to move between the two. And if you can move easily, you can move without any effort. You have learned the greatest thing in life. So meditation and love. Meditate so that you can feel immense silence, and love so that your life can become a song, a dance, a celebration. You will, if you can move without any effort, you have learned the greatest thing in this life. It has been one of the greatest problems down through the ages, meditation and love, aloneness, relationship, sex, and silence. Only the names are different. The problem is one. And down the ages, man has suffered much because the problem has not been understood rightly. People have chosen. Those who have chosen relationship are called the worldly. Those who have chosen aloneness are called the monks. The otherworldly. But both suffer because they remain half. And to be half is to be miserable. To be whole is to be healthy and happy. To be whole is to be perfect. To remain half is miserable because it is your other half. It is an essential part of you. It is not something accidental that you can discard. It is like a mountain deciding that I will not have any valleys around me. Now, without the valleys, the mountain cannot be. The valleys are part of the mountain's being. The mountain cannot exist without the valley. They are complementary to each other. If the mountain chooses to be without valleys, there will be no mountains anymore. The valley chooses to be without the mountain, there will be no valley either. Or you will become a pretender. The mountain will pretend that there is no valley. But the valley is there. You can hide the valley. You can drown it deep into your unconsciousness, but it remains. It persists. It is essential. There is no way to destroy it. In fact, mountain and valley are one thing. So are love and meditation. So are relationship and aloneness. The mountain of aloneness rises only in the valleys of relationship. In fact, you can enjoy aloneness only if you can enjoy relationship. It is relationship that creates the need for aloneness. It is a rhythm. When you have moved in deep relationship with somebody, a great need arises to be alone. You start feeling spent, exhausted, tired, joyously tired, happily tired. But each excitement is exhausting. It was tremendously beautiful to relate, but now you would like to move into aloneness so that you can again gather yourself together, so that again you can become overflowing, so that again you become rooted in your own being. In love, you moved into the other's being. You lost contact with yourself. You became drowned, drunk. Now you will need to find yourself again. But when you are alone, you are again creating a need for love. Soon you will be so full that you would like to share. You will be so overflowing that you would like somebody to pour yourself into. So to whom to give of yourself? Love arises out of aloneness. Aloneness makes you overfull. Love receives your gifts. Love empties you so that you can become full again. Whenever you are emptied by love, aloneness is there to nourish you, to integrate you, and this is a rhythm. To think of these two things as separate has been the most dangerous stupidity that man has suffered from. A few people become worldly. They are spent. They are just exhausted, empty. They don't have any space of their own. They don't know who they are. They never come across themselves. They live with others. They live for others. They are part of a crowd. They are not individuals. And remember, their life of love will not be of fulfillment. It will be half. And no half can ever be a fulfillment. Only the whole is fulfilled. And then there are the monks who have chosen the other half. They live in the monasteries. The word monk means one who lives alone. The word comes from the same root as monogamy, monotony, monastery, monopoly. It means one, alone. The monk is one who has chosen to be alone, but soon he is overfull, ripe, and knows nowhere to pour himself. Where to pour himself? He cannot allow love. He cannot allow relationship. He cannot go and meet and mix with people. Now his energies start getting sour, and any energy that stops flowing becomes bitter. Even nectar, stagnant, becomes poison, and vice versa. Even poison, flowing, becomes nectar. To flow is to know what nectar is, and to become stagnant is to know what poison is. Poison and nectar are not two things, but two states of the same energy. Flowing, it is nectar. Frozen, it is poison. Whenever some energy is there, and there is no outlet for it, it goes sour, becomes bitter, it becomes sad, it becomes ugly. Rather than giving you wholeness and health, it makes you ill. All monks are ill. All monks are bound to be pathological. The worldly people are empty, bored, exhausted, dragging themselves somehow in the name of duty, in the name of the family, in the name of the nation, all sacred cows, somehow dragging toward death, just waiting for death to come and deliver them. They will know their rest only in their graves. They will not know any rest in this life. And a life that knows no rest is not a life, really. It is like music that has no silence in it. Then it is just noise, nauseating. It will make you sick. Great music is a synthesis between sound and silence. And the greater the synthesis, the deeper the music goes. The sound creates silence. The silence creates receptivity to receive sound, and so on and so forth. Sound creates more love for music, more capacity to become silent. Listening to great music, you will always feel prayerful. Something whole, something integrates in you. You become centered, rooted. The earth and the sky meet. They are no longer separate. The body, the soul meet and merge. They lose their definitions. And that is the great moment. the moment of the mystic union. It is an ancient battle, and foolish, utterly foolish. So please be aware. Don't create any battle between sex and silence. If you create a battle, your sex will be ugly, sick, and your silence will be dull, dead. Let sex and silence meet and merge. In fact, the greatest moments of silence are those which are followed by love, great love, peaks of love. And the peaks of love are always followed by of silence and aloneness. Meditation leads into love. Love leads into meditation. They are partners. It is impossible to divide them. It is not a question of creating a synthesis. It is impossible to divide them. It is a question of understanding, seeing that they are indivisible. The synthesis is already there. It is already the case. They are one, two aspects of the same coin. You need not synthesize them. They never have existed separately. And man has tried, and has tried hard, but has always failed. Religiousness has not yet become the noosphere of the earth. This division. Either you have to be worldly or you have to be otherworldly. Choose. And the moment you choose, you miss something. Whichever you choose, you're going to be a loser. Don't choose. Live both and they're together. That. In fact, only idiots do it. A few idiots have chosen to be worldly, and a few other idiots have chosen to be otherworldly. The man of intelligence would like both. And that's what sannyas is all about. You can have the cake and eat it too. That is intelligence. Be alert, aware, intelligent. See the rhythm and move with the rhythm without any choice. Remain choicelessly aware. See both the extremes. On the surface, they look opposite, contradictory, but they are not. Deep down, there is a complementariness, and it is the same pendulum that goes to the left and to the right. Don't try to fix it at the left or at the right. If you fix it, you have destroyed the whole clock, and that's what has been done up to now. Accept life in all its dimensions. And I understand the problem. The problem is simple, well known. The problem is that when you start relating, you don't know how to be alone. That simply shows unintelligence. It is not that relationship is wrong. It simply shows that you are still not intelligent enough. So relationship becomes too much. And you don't find any space to be alone. And you feel exhausted and tired. Then one day, you decide relationship is bad. It is meaningless. I want to become a monk. I will go to a Himalayan cave and live there alone. And you will dream great dreams of being alone. How beautiful it will be. Nobody encroaching on your freedom. Nobody trying to manipulate you. He has not been able to understand the complementariness of love and meditation. The other is hell, yes. The other becomes hell if you don't know how to be alone sometimes. Amidst all kinds of relationships, the other becomes hell. It is tedious, tiring, exhausting, boring. The other loses all beauty because the other has become known. You are well acquainted. Now there is no surprise anymore. You have known the territory perfectly well. You have traveled in the territory so long that there is no surprise anymore. You are simply fed up with the whole thing. But you have become attached, and the other has become attached to you. The other is also in misery because you are her or his hell, just as he or she is your hell. Both are creating hell for each other. Both are clinging to each other, afraid to lose because anything is better than nothing. At least something is there to hold on to. And one can still hope that tomorrow things will be better. Today they are not better, but tomorrow things are going to be better. One can still hope. One goes on hoping. One lives in despair and goes on hoping. Then sooner or later, one starts feeling it would be better to be alone. But if you go into aloneness for a few days, it will be tremendously beautiful, as it is beautiful with the other. For a few days, just as there is a honeymoon in relationship, there is a honeymoon in meditation, too. For a few days, you will feel so free just to be yourself. Nobody there to demand, nobody there to expect anything from you. If you want to get up early in the morning, you can get up early in the morning. If you don't want to get up early in the morning, you can go on sleeping. If you want to do something, okay. If you don't want to do anything, there is nobody to force you. For a few days, you will feel so tremendously happy, but only for a few days. Soon you will become tired of it. You will be overflowing and have nobody to receive your love. You will be ripe, and the energy needs to be shared. You will become heavy. You will become burdened with your own energy. You would like somebody to welcome your energy, to receive your energy. You would like to be unburdened. Now, aloneness will look not like aloneness, but loneliness. Now there will be a change. The honeymoon is finished. Aloneness will start turning into loneliness. You will have a great desire to find the other. In your dreams, the other will start appearing. Go and ask the monks what they dream. They dream only about women. They cannot dream about anything else. They dream of somebody who can unburden them. Ask the nuns. They dream only about men. And the thing can become pathological. You must be aware of the Christian history. Nuns and monks start dreaming even with open eyes. The dream becomes such a substantial reality that you need not wait for the night. Even in the day, the nun is sitting there and she sees the devil coming, and the devil is trying to make love to her. You will be surprised. Many times it happened in the Middle Ages that nuns were burned at the stake because they confessed that they had made love to the devil. They themselves but their bellies started becoming bigger and bigger. A psychological pregnancy. And they described the devil in such detail that devil was their own creation. And the devil followed them day and night. And so was the case with the monks. The choice of being alone has created a very sick humanity. And the people who live in the world are not happy. And the monks are not happy. Nobody seems to be happy. The whole world is a constant misery. And you can choose from one misery to another. You can choose this worldly misery or that worldly misery, but it is misery all the same. For a few days, you will feel good. So here's a new message. The message is no longer to choose. Remain choicelessly alert in your life. Become intelligent rather than changing circumstances. Change your psychology. Become more intelligent. More intelligence is needed to be blissful. And then you can have aloneness together with relationship. Make your woman or your man also alert to the rhythm. People should be taught that nobody can love 24 hours a day. Rest periods are needed. And nobody can love on order. Love is a spontaneous phenomenon. Whenever it happens, it happens. And whenever it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. Nothing can be done about it. If you do anything, you will create a pseudo-phenomenon, an acting. Real lovers, intelligent lovers, will make each other alert to the phenomenon. When I want to be alone, that does not mean that I am rejecting you. In fact, it is because of your love that you have made it possible for me to be alone. And if your woman wants to be left alone for one night, for a few days, you will not feel hurt. You will not say that you have been rejected, that your love has not been received and welcomed. You will respect her decision to be alone for a few days. In fact, you will be happy. Your love was so much that she is feeling empty. Now she needs rest to become full again. This is intelligence. Ordinarily, you think you are rejected. You go to your woman, and if she is not willing to be with you or not very loving to you, you feel great rejection. Your ego is hurt. The ego is not a very intelligent thing. All egos are idiotic. Intelligence knows no ego. And intelligence simply sees the phenomenon, tries to understand why the woman does not want to be with you. Not that she is rejecting it. You know she has loved you so much. She loves you so much. But this is a moment she wants to be alone. And if you love her, you will leave her alone. You will not torture her. You will not force her to make love to you. And if the man wants to be alone, the woman will not think he is no longer interested in me. Maybe he has become interested in some other woman. An intelligent woman will leave the man alone so he can again gather together his being, so that again he has energy to share. And this rhythm is like day and night, summer and winter. It goes on changing. If two persons are really respectful, and love is always respectful, it reveres the other. It is a very worshipful, prayerful state. Then slowly, you will understand each other more and more, and you will become aware of the other's rhythm and your rhythm. And soon you will be filled, and you will find that out of love, out of respect, your rhythms are coming closer and closer. When you feel loving, she feels loving. Have you watched ever? If you come across two real lovers, you will see many things similar in them. Real lovers become as if they are brothers and sisters. You will be surprised. Even brothers and sisters are not so alike. Their expression, their way of walking, their way of talking, their gestures. Two lovers become alike and yet so different. This naturally starts happening. Just being together, slowly but surely, they become attuned to each other. Real lovers need not say anything to the other. The other immediately understands, intuitively understands. If the woman is sad, she may not say it is so, but the man understands and leaves her alone. If the man is sad, the woman understands and leaves him alone. Finds some excuse to leave him alone. Stupid people do just the opposite. They never leave each other alone. They are constantly with each other, tiring and boring each other, never leaving any space for the other to be. Love gives freedom, and love helps the other to be himself or herself. Love is a very paradoxical phenomenon. In one way, it makes, but it also helps you to attain to the Supreme Self. Then there is no problem. Love and meditation are two wings. They balance each other. And between the two, you grow. And between the two, you become whole. You see, as we have been trained, you could call it programming, but it is a training that generation after generation after generation receives. And so that programming dictates to you on how to be, how to respond, how to react. Because all this information is from other people's thoughts, and those programs have been instilled into humanity generation after generation for hundreds of thousands of years. So what happens is that it is deeply embedded, and the only reason it's deeply embedded is because each parental interaction, and it may not always be parental, it may be foster parents, it could be anything, but some form of parenting, or no form of parenting, just listening and learning on your own with others around. So we miss these things. It's not like we do them on purpose. It's that we miss them. We don't have the knowledge. And that's why everybody gets so perplexed. This is one example. Love and meditation, meditation and love. Have you ever been in a situation where you might be dating someone or interacting with someone, whether man or woman, and they say to you, I'd like to, I'm going to just I'd like to be alone for a while. What is the man's usual response? Bing. She doesn't want to be with me anymore. Maybe she's seeing someone else. That's all ego motivated, all those thoughts coming in. And because he doesn't know. See, he doesn't know. And then he's focusing on what he doesn't want, which is also dangerous. It's like if you hold on too tight to anything, you're going to smother it, or it'll die. That's why you have to be very careful on what you have in the palm of your hands. You let it fly. If it flies away, you've heard this, and it doesn't come back, then it wasn't meant to be with you. But you've heard other people say that, or maybe you, that, man, they look a lot alike. They look like brother and sister. Have you ever heard that? You ever said that before? And it's because they've interacted, but yet, and then there are people that say, I would like to meet someone to get to know them well enough so that I could be in a room, look at them across the room, and they'd know exactly how I was feeling. Boom. That's starting to go in there, and that's like fantasizing, because without knowing how, it won't be. So the interaction is based, it really boils down to, you get burned out. Everybody gets burned out. Nobody doesn't get burned out. They get burned out in relationships. They don't want to be around that person for a while. It's okay, so nurture that. And this is why we have so much snafooing going on the planet, so much confusion, so much disarray, so much chaos. And you can see that and feel that vibrational frequency through the heart mind, and then you begin to understand it. See, we hold on to it because we're attached to the physical personality, the character. We're attached to this. And when we become attached to something, we don't like to let it go. So we usually, if it tries to break away, you hold on tighter. Okay? You become more frustrated, irritated, worried, right? Anxiety kicks in. And it's true. You can't be around someone and love them 24/7. You cannot. You will drain yourself into oblivion. And lots of times, this is what happens when people end up, as they call it on this planet, divorcing. Right? This is what they do. Because they didn't know how to interact. You could be with someone for years and still not know how to interact with them. And this is important as we go into New Earth, because the frequencies, you can choose. We do have choice. But then if you just say, I'm going to go with the flow. And so you go with the flow and you just kind of, okay, so I'll take that and I'll take that. And I'm going to skip that one and skip that one. Either way, we're choosing. We're choosing not to or to. But if you choose one particular thing, you just say, I'm going to go with both, see what happens. So you go with both. You go with meditation and love. And then meditation and love. And then when you're interacting with people, any relationship, this is about any kind of relationship with yourself, right? Sometimes you need a break from loving yourself, right? So you just are alone, and you like being alone. And I know a lot of people that are alone, but they like being alone. But they still interact with people. they're not hermits. They interact with people. They'll date, they'll interact, they'll have fun, but they like being alone. So they get full, and when you get full, what happens? You search. Isn't that what happens? You start to seek. And it's a mixed match with all of us. Just like I said, we're all like snowflakes. Not one of us are the same. And is that you love, you meditate. You're alone, you meditate. You love, you're with somebody. And since you're with somebody, not all the time. And this is a big hiccup in this society. Because when you say to someone, I need some space, that's another statement. I need some space. Because that, whether it's a woman or a man, they're feeling smothered. They're feeling they don't have their own time. I never get to have my own time. She's always around, or he's always around. I just don't. And they talk with their friends about it, and it goes on and on and on. Why don't you say something? No, it'll hurt his feelings, or hurt her feelings. This is part of not understanding the other. Okay? You're whole, but at times you become half. You're not looking for your other half. You already are your other half. This is where we're looking for, how many times have you ever heard this? You're looking for your other half when you are the other half. So you begin to seek, you seek out the male or the female. And you want to be with someone. How many times have you heard people, or have you said this to yourself through your life, right? Where you say, I'm tired of being alone. But before, you were saying, I can't wait to be alone. See what happens? So then you are alone, and then it's great. You feel fantastic. Because now you're beginning to fill yourself back up. And then you get full again, and then you go, I'm tired of being alone. I want to be with someone. See how it works? Then you get with someone. Then you get tired of being with that person all the time. So then again, you want to be alone again. So it's like a teeter-totter, seesaw, up and down, up and down. But when you embrace both of them, and you say to the other, I'm going to take a few days off. I just like to be alone. And now, when the other understands this through intelligence, they will say, hey, that's great. All right. Give me a holler. And boom, no big deal. Both ways. Not just one way, but both ways. But the majority of the time, it isn't that way because the intelligence isn't there. What happens is, as we know, it becomes permanent. You end that type of interaction with the other relationship, and then you move on. And then you do it again. You're alone, and then you want to be with someone. But you embrace them both. So you're in the position of saying to yourself, and not worrying about it, because so many people would love to say that to the other freely, right? But they don't. Because the ego kicks in. Ego mind kicks in. Well, what if they do that? They're going to get upset. They're going to get angry with them. Maybe they're going to think you don't like them anymore. You don't love them anymore. Or you don't want to be with them anymore. And that usually happens. Doesn't it? Doesn't that usually happen? And maybe it's happened with all of us at one time or another. Or people say, well, we're just not compatible. But when it boils down to it, and this could be a friendship, it could be a loveship, it could be any of those things. But what the to be informed about these things. These are gaps in the social structure of this civilization. They're big gaps because they cause a lot of ramifications. And when you start to understand that, see, everybody mostly thinks that the population of the planet is growing, right? And I'll get into this heavily tomorrow night, but the population of the planet is growing. It isn't growing. It's depleting. Way before the COVID ordeal, it's depleting. Why is that? Because relationships aren't healthy, and not enough babies are healthily being made. And this is what happens to civilization. And why is that? We're talking about the root cause. This is a root cause, not the other things that are flashing here and there. Root cause is that we do not know how to get along. We don't. It isn't a negative, it's not a bad thing, but it's a good thing that this is out in the open now. We do not know how to get along. It's because of all the things that we've been programmed with, and a lot of us don't even know how to unprogram it. You know, dump the subconscious mind and fill it up with your thoughts, your experience, your education, your gain of intelligence and knowledge, right? So that you begin to understand that we are in these bodies temporarily. And right now, the way it's set, very short period of time. Very short period of time. So we miss so many things. And unfortunately, at this current stage, we don't remember those things that we missed because then we start over in another body. But this is like an epiphany. It's an understanding, a breakthrough, that this is all because of us, even though we're one. And most of us don't know that deeply, right to our core, right with the God within our soul. We don't know that. So we think we're separate. So when you begin to understand it, wait a minute, we're all one. That's all. And we don't know how to, we don't understand that these phases, not phases, but times that we experience are natural. They're our natural state of being. And you don't use it as an excuse. It isn't an excuse. See, that's ego mind. That's being dishonest with the other person. Well, you know, I want to be able, and you don't want to be with them at all anyway, ever. But through the heart mind, your understanding is that we both get tired of being together. It isn't a negative, it's a positive. So in order for us to want to be together, we become alone. And we stay alone till we're full again, and then we come back together. And to a lot of people, that sounds absolutely absurd, right? Because of the conventional programming that the civilization has received for so very long. But it isn't absurd. It's clarity. Usually, they're afraid to communicate that. They're afraid of it. They don't care to do it. Each of them are thinking, oh, it hurt their feelings, they'll get upset, they'll start getting what? Insecure, worried, and that's all ego mind. But you really will know, okay? And this is from the heart mind. If it's from the ego mind, there's just excuses. You're putting up a smoke screen for an alternative reason. They know that the man and the woman will get empty. They'll empty out in the love that they are experiencing with each other. They'll empty out, and when they start emptying out, you got to be careful because the ego mind comes in and it starts saying things like, "Oh, come on, you can just move on, find somebody else. Why don't you just find somebody else?" Right? But on the other hand, if you have the intelligence, you can gain intelligence, by the way. So if you have intelligence enough to understand is that it's time for us to be alone. You imagine how, and in each one understood what that meant. That you're empty and you need to fill back up. And the only way you can do that is by being alone. But if you stay alone too long and you don't interact with others, you become lonely. Loneliness kicks in. Okay? And all of us experience loneliness, but alone is much different than loneliness. And then we have people that are afraid to be alone. They'll do anything they can just to be with someone and go through hell and back. I've met and I've tried to help. I've helped people that were in those situations where they would do anything to stay with that person. They would go through hell 1,000 times as long as that person was living and breathing near them. And that's what happens. It's a fear which is ego motivated, and the fear overtakes the person, and then the person becomes very fearful to be alone. So they look at being alone as horrible. They couldn't stand being alone. So that's why they do the things they do with other people and experience the things they do with other people because they're so fearful of being alone. And they don't know what aloneness is, being alone is. They think aloneness is loneliness, but it isn't. Anytime we choose, and it's clockwork, it's like the pendulum swings left to right, right to left. It's always going to swing, never stops. So when you do that and you understand it, you're empty, then you're full. Then you interact. Then you have love with the other. You get empty in the love, you're alone, you get filled up, then you want to interact. You want to be with someone or the same person, as long as they understand and you understand when they require the same aloneness. But the insecurity of the social structure of planet Earth on the surface in this society has been trained to be insecure. Humanity is highly insecure. The reason is because it has not expanded its awareness within. That's the main reason that humanity is so in disarray, because it has not discovered exactly who and what is in this body. They don't. And many will not in this lifetime, or the next, or the next. It just depends. But to be talking about this, communicating about this, means that we're halfway there. Just to be communicating this is absolutely spectacular. Magna Gloria, stupendous. And those that come to this meditation every day, and those that listen to it every day, are beginning to understand that. You see, when we talk about letting go, surrender, there's a lot of things that we've got to surrender and let go of. Or we're going to stay lifetime after lifetime trying to figure it out with no memory. But to get to this point, to this level of frequency of understanding and comprehension, that these things are things that we're going to tend to. You imagine the difference in relationships on the planet when people understand what being alone is? You see two people, right? And they get in a conflict, argument, whatever. Really heated, maybe, okay? One of them says, I want to be alone. Leave me alone. Boom, that's a dead giveaway, okay? They're empty. But, you see, the push is to be together. And then what happens when both are empty? Right? is that they split for good. They don't see each other again. And then they get full. And then they go out and seek another. And this is when we say you can have your cake and eat it too. Because of the fact that you can love the other, they love you, but you all both understand that there's times where we need to be alone with ourselves. And I don't mean, the guy going out with the guys or the woman going out with the women. The girls going out with girls, however you want to say it. I mean being alone with yourself. You've been with friends, right? And you've probably said to them at one point in your life, you know what? I'm just going to chill out with myself. I just want to be alone. And then they say immediately, is everything okay? Are you all right? You see how the social structure is? Are you all right? Do you ever think, oh, I'm fine? No, hey, I just want to be alone. Okay. Catch up with you later. And this is when we get alone and we contemplate and we meditate. It's like people say, well, what do you do when you're alone? You contemplate, you meditate. You don't, you enjoy the space and the energy, the lack of interaction. You actually enjoy that, see? And as you're doing this, you begin to fill up. And this just happens. It just doesn't happen. It happens in certain things. And now you have an understanding that you can view, and then you understand why you are the way you are at certain times in your life. You might have a really good friend, right? And then there's times where you go, your friend will call you and say, man, I haven't heard from you in a week. What's going on? And then you say to your friend, oh, I just decided I wanted to be alone. Friend automatically says, well, the friend might be hurt, right? Let down, because all of a sudden his best buddy or his best girlfriend, whatever, her best, the girls, men, whatever, and they feel hurt and let down because this guy's best buddy didn't want to see him. But it's not that way. See, it isn't that way. It's that you get empty with people. And to understand that, and for them to understand that, and not to take it in and let it fester and poison, but just to understand that. I understand that. I do. I mean, I've understood that. Didn't understand it at first. Okay. I went through the same thing. Well, you get hurt and you feel bad and you think that they don't want to be with you, and that's not the case. Now, you do get the devious ones that will, use that as an excuse to never be with you again. See, that's the difference. That's dishonesty. But and that's what people worry about, losing, rejection. What's the big deal about rejection? I mean, we look at it and we say, not a big deal. But in this quiet time, in this meditation, review that innocently, openly. You'd be surprised how things will start to transform and shift in your life, because you now have a completely new perspective. You carried it with you. It's just that it wasn't discovered. Now it's discovered. See, now it will answer a lot of the questions you may have asked yourself through the years. I'll join you in the meditation and return to close us out. Take an easy and slow breath in through the nose. And an easy and slow breath out from the mouth. Remain still. The experience of bliss is happening to someone, somewhere, right in this now moment. This very moment on this planet. Meditate, focus, and tune into those beings who are already there. Imagine what they are doing, how they are being in this world today. Let their experiences of bliss seep into your mind and your life. Write in your manifesting journal descriptive sensations and experiences. Take this with you for the rest of the day, into the evening and night, following morning. We'll return here Wednesday, May 31, 2023, 3:15 p.m. Eastern, to continue our global guided meditation call. And 9 p.m. Eastern to continue our time for change call. Be gentle, kind, generous, and humble with yourself at all times. Be in the highest and deepest eternal gratitude at all times.